Hello, third grade friends. We are ready for chapter 6 of Cupid Doesn't Flip Hamburgers. Today we are reading chapter 6 and 7. So you can either listen to both chapters and then answer all of the questions, or you can pause after each chapter. Let's get started. Chapter 6 is called Button Attack. Don't you guys get it? Eddie yelled. She's taking over our school. Eddie, you have the craziest imagination, Liza told him. Liza, Melody, Eddie, and Howie were all gathered under their favorite oak tree after school. Melody agreed. I've heard people say that love is war. It's the attack of the killer buttons, Eddie interrupted. Everybody who wears one and eats a sugar cookie just goes love crazy. That's ridiculous, Liza said. Just because Mrs. Jeepers is wearing a heart button is nothing to get excited about. After all, she wears a green brooch every day. But it's not every day that she acts like a lovesick puppy, Eddie pointed out. Howie leaned against the oak tree. She did act stranger than usual. At recess time, she was actually humming a song. It was a love song, Melody said, and during math, she drew hearts on the board. She's never done that before. See, Eddie yelled. I told you something like this was going to happen, but you wouldn't believe me. We have to do something before it's too late. Hold on just a minute, Melody said. There's nothing wrong with drawing hearts or humming love songs. The world would probably be a lot better if everyone was a little more loving. Melody is right. Just think what it would be like if everyone loved everyone else, Liza said. Eddie started to say something, but he didn't get the chance. Carrie came up behind him and put her hands over his eyes. Guess who? Carrie said. My worst nightmare, Eddie yelled and pushed Carrie's hands away. Carrie winked and grabbed Eddie's hand. Oh, Eddie, you are so funny. Would you like to walk me home? No, Eddie hollered and pulled away. No, no. Eddie looked at Howie, Liza, and Melody. See, just look what the cook has done. She's taken two perfectly good enemies and spoiled them. Carrie batted her eyelashes at Eddie. We could never be enemies. I like you too much. As a matter of fact, I love... Ah! Eddie screamed. This has gone too far. I've got to do something. Then he ran out of the playground and didn't stop until he was safe at home. Carrie looked at Melody, Howie, and Liza. He's playing hard to get, Carrie said. I think I'll bake him some sugar cookies. The next morning, Eddie came to school and didn't say a word. He didn't say anything when Howie said hello, and he just put his head down when Carrie offered him a big, fat, red cookie and gave him a new pink notebook. He didn't even comment when Mrs. Jeepers came in wearing a bright red dress with a white rose in her hair. I saw Principal Davis give her that rose, Liza whispered. I think they're in love. Mrs. Jeepers has probably been lonely since her husband died. Maybe you were right about those buttons and cookies, Howie muttered. Eddie didn't say a word, but he did notice that Mrs. Jeepers was still wearing her heart button. Finally, at lunch, Eddie spoke. Whatever happens, don't eat one of those heart cookies or wear one of those buttons. Liza rolled her eyes. You still don't believe that Cupid nonsense, do you? Just look at Mrs. Rosenblum. She looks perfectly innocent. The four friends looked through the open kitchen door. Mrs. Rosenblum was there in a bright red dress with a white apron and a big white hat. She was busy cooking heart-shaped hamburgers on the grill. Every once in a while, she would toss one of the burgers. The hamburger would swirl through the air, and Mrs. Rosenblum would catch it on a plate. I've never seen Cupid flipping hamburgers before, Melody said. Maybe she's the first one, Eddie said. After all, Cupids have to eat too. That's how they get so fat. You're crazy, Liza said. Besides, those cookies that she baked look good. Just look at those yummy red sprinkles on top. I have to get one. Liza stood up to go into the kitchen and Melody followed. I'm going to get one of those cute buttons, Melody added. Eddie shook his head at Howie and took a bite of his heart-shaped hamburger. Somebody has to cure Bailey's school kids of this love sickness, and it will have to be me. Chapter 7, Love is War. Melody closed her eyes and swallowed. This is the best cookie I've ever sunk my teeth into. Liza nodded and licked a few sprinkles off her red cookie. I just love them. Melody giggled, and she and Liza walked back toward their seats in the lunchroom. But nothing is sweeter than Howie. He's so cute and smart. I'm glad he's my friend, Liza told her. I think he likes me better than you. Your brain is as mushy as oatmeal, Melody snapped. Howie likes me best. Liza sniffed and touched Melody's arm. He does not. Does too. Melody pushed her best friend. Liza fell against the wall and slid onto the floor. Look what you did, Liza shrieked. It's your own fault, Melody yelled. The rest of the kids in the cafeteria fell silent. Melody and Liza had been best friends since kindergarten. They hardly ever had fights. Howie and Eddie stared at Liza and Melody. What's gotten into them? Eddie asked. Howie shrugged. We'd better help them out. If Mrs. Jeepers finds out they were fighting, she'll send them to Principal Davis's office. Howie and Eddie rushed across the crowded cafeteria. Without thinking, Howie held out his hand to help Liza up. Liza smiled sweetly and batted her eyelashes. Then she gently placed her hand in Howie's. See, she told Melody, Howie likes me best. Howie's mouth dropped open as his face turned red as the sprinkles on that Rosenblum cookie. I never said that, Howie sputtered. Liza squeezed his hand and winked too. It's okay, Howie. I like you too. Howie pulled his hand away and took 3 steps back. What's wrong with you, Liza? He asked. Are you sick? Eddie stepped back between Liza and Howie. Lisa's sick, all right. Love sick. Am not. Melody's the one who's sick. She thinks Howie likes her better than me. Tell her the truth, Howie. Howie looked at Liza, then at Melody. If he said he liked Liza, Melody would get mad. If he said he liked Melody, Liza would get upset and her nose would bleed. I like you both, he finally admitted. We're friends. You can't like us both, Melody snapped. You have to pick who you like best. She put her hands on her hips and waited. Eddie grabbed Howie's elbow and pulled him away. Don't say a word, he warned. Thanks to Mrs. Rosenblum's love potion, Bailey Elementary is on the brink of war.